If you're a new War Thunder player, you might be asking yourself, what are squadron vehicles? How do I get them, and do I need to join a squadron? So let's break this down. Squadron vehicles are those vehicles that you see in the premium part of the tech tree with a green background. Currently, there are 13 squadron vehicles. They can be unlocked in any order and do not receive premium reward bonuses. You also have to research all the modifications for them like regular tech tree vehicles. Next, do you need to join a squadron? Yes, they're called squadron vehicles for a reason. If you don't want to interact with your squadron but still want to grind for squadron vehicles, you can just join one of the many squadrons dedicated to grinding squadron vehicles. So now that you're in a squadron and you know what vehicle you want, how do you actually start grinding for it? Well, squadron vehicles are unlocked through a special type of research point called squadron research. This is completely separate from the regular research that you get from your matches. To get squadron research, you have to get activity points. You can get 360 activity points every 3-day period. So every 3 days, your activity points reset to 0, and you have to get another 360 for the next period. This is actually really easy. I only have to play 3 to 4 matches to get the full 360 activity points each time. But to get the most squadron research, it's not just about how many activity points you get, but how many activity points your whole squadron gets. Total squadron activity translates 1-to-1 with how much squadron research that you'll get at the end of each 3-day period, up to a maximum of 20,000 squadron research. That means to get the maximum amount of squadron research, you need to be in a squadron that has at least 56 members getting 100% activity every 3-day period. The amount of activity that each member has to contribute goes down for every member in the squadron past the 56th. At the maximum of 128 members, each one would only have to contribute 155 activity, or roughly 43%. So let's say that you've reached the end of a 3-day period and your squadron has achieved the maximum of 20,000 activity. Now that gets translated into 20,000 squadron research, and you can put that into a squadron vehicle. And this is the part that takes a long time. The cheapest squadron vehicle is the 2.3 battle rating British Firecrest. The Firecrest costs 150,000 squadron research, which is equal to 24 days worth of activity periods. So you have to maintain maximum or near maximum activity for 24 days. The most expensive squadron vehicle is the M1A1 AIM at 540,000 squadron research. To unlock that, you'd have to maintain your activity for 81 days. Now you might be able to see why it takes over a year of constant activity to unlock all the squadron vehicles. You can purchase squadron vehicles for Golden Eagles, but because of their lack of premium rewards or premium grinding abilities, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that thinks that purchasing them is a good idea, even if some of them are better than their tech tree counterparts. This is why you should go after the squadron vehicles that interest you the most first. By the time that you unlock a lineup to go with them, you should have the squadron vehicle unlocked. Here's a video on why I think the SKR-7 should be your first squadron vehicle that you go after, and here's a video that YouTube thinks that you'll enjoy.